camera. This is our first camera glitch since we started, which is okay. I mean, we've done pretty well throughout the
Duration
duration.
of the home broadcast. So today we're going to just do a little FaceTime camera. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, we have a great response, incidentally, to people signing up on our YouTube channel. Welcome in. Here we go. We made it to Wednesday. It's hump day of an extraordinary time in America. Just an extraordinary time. It's such an honor to kind of sit here in this seat and watch kind of national trends. Watch the way the mood of the people, the way Americans are changing their belief system, what we trust, what we don't trust, what you recognize as real, what you are suspicious about. And I will tell you, as an observer of humanity, that there is a huge amount of skepticism and cynicism that is existing right now in this country. And the mainstream media can try to dismiss us. They can rail against us. They can condemn Mike Pence for not wearing a mask. They can call the Governor Kemp a moron while they look the other way at the Democrat governor of Colorado. And incidentally, Colorado and Georgia's reopenings are almost identical. And the mainstream media doesn't, or social media, they don't say much about the Democrat in Colorado. It's the Republican in Georgia that has them so aggravated. It's a fascinating thing to observe as people are slowly, and in some cases more rapidly, recognizing the politicization of this whole thing. People over and over are collectively saying this is more about power, this is more about control than public health. Now, I don't have any magic crystal ball. I don't know anymore what the social distancing and the lockdowns and the shelter in place has done. I've believed, and I'm going to admit this, I have believed the narrative that shutting down and staying away from each other has flattened the curve and has pushed the numbers down below where they could have been. I'm not trained in, epidemiology. I'm not a scientist. I rely on experts. Americans are increasingly large and loud numbers saying we're not really fully buying it. And it's my job to have my finger on the pulse of the American people. And I've been pretty good at it over the last 42 years. I'm pretty good at my job. And yesterday was a great example of not fully recognizing the mood of the people. As you know, and we started out with a great caller, Sean in Queens. And he's a regular, by the way, and Sean calls a lot. And I have a thing about, and understand, I'm old school. I always like new, fresh callers, and I love loyal callers and loyal listeners. But understand, there are people that like to be on a lot, and it's always been kind of an awkward thing for me because I don't like to have the same callers over and over and over every day. So I gotta kind of walk that tightrope because he was a very passionate guy. He's a great caller, smart guy. And Sean kind of kicked things off yesterday by really challenging my belief that it's probably a good idea as we're reopening and going to barber shops and starting to go to restaurants and be out in public around other people. You wear a mask and you stay 6 feet away from each other. Let's practice the CDC guidelines. My gosh, as you heard, the floodgates opened and it was an hour of disagreement. First of all, I think it was part of it was the problem was in my messaging because I sure don't think it's mandatory. I'm not saying you must wear a mask. I'm saying that's what I think is a good idea and it's going to work for me. I'm 60. I don't think I'm vulnerable. I'm in good health. I've lost 30 pounds. Thank you very much. Proud of that. Working to be as healthy as I can. Got my immune system boosted. I'm doing, I think, all the right things I'm supposed to do. For me, if I'm going to go into a Walmart and I'm going to buy items, I'm going to wear a mask, maybe some gloves, and I'm going to try to stay 6 feet away from everybody I come in contact with. But that's for me. And I think my mistake yesterday maybe was making you think I believe this should be a mandatory, requirement. And believe me, you've got a good reason to suspect that. In New York City this week, there was a big funeral for an Orthodox Jewish leader. And there were hundreds and hundreds of people in the streets mourning the loss of this beloved leader. These are Orthodox Jews in New York, most of them wearing masks, but they definitely were not 6 feet away from each other. It was a big crowd of people. The mayor of New York took to Twitter with a stunning warning. Here's what he wrote. Something absolutely unacceptable happened in Williamsburg tonight, a large funeral gathering in the middle of this pandemic. When I heard, I went there myself to ensure the crowd was dispersed, and what I saw will not be tolerated so long as we are fighting the coronavirus. My message to the Jewish community and all communities is this simple. The time for warnings has passed. I've instructed the NYPD to proceed immediately to summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups. This is about stopping this disease and saving lives, period. Now, I want to see the image of the NYPD arresting large groups of Orthodox Jews or Muslims or Baptists and hauling them off to jail. I mean, when we get to that point, every single caller yesterday who took me on is going to be completely vindicated. Because as I would say, and I'm still going to say it, by the way, for me, I'm wearing a mask for now. And I kept saying, for now, it's not mandatory. It's what I'm going to do. But as I say that, and every one of you called me yesterday, or you texted me, or you left voicemails, and you said, Mike, we are in a police state. This is a totalitarianism. Why am I blanking out on that, Eric? Help me. I don't know. You know what I mean. A dictatorship. A totalitarian. I'm literally blanking out on the word. A totalitarianism. It's too many syllables. It's, I don't know. You know what I mean. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough, you're saying. And I get it. I really do. I watched in amazement today. One of the big networks, NBC, did about a 4-minute story on Mike Pence visiting the Mayo Clinic, and he didn't have a mask. You'd have thought that he showed up at the Mayo Clinic without pants. They were so condemning of him. And, of course, the reporter who was reporting on it is standing there in front of the camera doing a stand-up with nobody around. You understand, nobody stands next to these reporters when they do these network stand-ups where they do their reports in front of a camera. Reporters got a mask on. They're all wearing masks now. Can't even see who the reporter is in front of the camera. It would be the linear equivalent of all the network anchors, all the Fox News Channel hosts or CNN or MSNBC sitting on their sets wearing masks because there's people around them. They're not by themselves when they're on TV. And even when they're outside, you see these reporters walking around outside. Nobody around them. They're walking in like an empty street, and they got a mask on. It's becoming a symbol. It is a symbol. And if you don't wear a mask, you're evil. You're a bad guy. You're a Republican. You're Mike Pence. You're Trump. You're a Trumpist. You deny science. You're a moron. You've got blood on your hands. You're a killer. Totalitarian. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Derek. Totalitarian. That's what you're saying. This is the United States of America. And people are saying, listen, I don't want to wear a mask. You ain't going to make me wear a mask. And people in the Orthodox Jewish community in New York City right now are saying, you're going to arrest us for gathering to mourn one of our own? You know what Bill de Blasio is not doing? Is threatening to arrest all the people that are crammed into the subways every morning going to work in New York City. I've seen, how many pictures have you seen? I've seen them. I haven't been there in a long time, but I've seen the videos and the pictures of people crammed in on buses. You hear de Blasio threatening to arrest all the people that are crammed into a bus now in New York City? Those are the inconsistencies. Those are the problems. Those are the contradictions that you are resisting. And you know what? Understand me. I'm right there with you.